Alright, so this is part 2 study guide. Pilot in a helicopter spots a landing pad below. If the angle of depression is 64 and the horizontal distance is 1,000, what's altitude of the helicopter? So we have a helicopter, part of the crew drawing, and remember, if the helicopter, it looks straight out, and then it's going to depress its view down to wherever the helipad is, or the landing pad, right? Okay. So the angle of depression is right here. We drop straight down because we want to know what the elevation is. We don't know. And it is 1,000 feet horizontal distance. Okay, so this is our picture. If we were to draw this picture just with the triangle, not the added stuff, you get 1,000 feet. We don't know how high it is off the ground. We have this horizontal auxiliary line, if you want to call it, at 64 degrees here. But we'd have 26 degrees in here. And what that basically means for us is that we can use trig to set this problem up and to get what it is. So we'd actually go ahead and take our eyes up here, and we're going to get opposite and adjacent. So we're going to get tan of 26, and that's going to equal 1,000 over x. Again, algebraically, or we can switch these two. We get x equals 1,000 over tan 26, and that's going to equal approximately 20,050.3 feet. Okay. So again, setting up the picture is the most important part on this one, making sure that we understand what it looks like, how it acts, and all that. Okay. 23, let's move it back here. 10-foot ladder resting against the side of a home. If the ladder is 7 feet away from the base, at what angle does the ladder create with the ground? So again, we have some sort of picture here. Here's a house, right? We have a ladder that's going up the side. It's 10 feet, the ladder. It's 7 feet away from the base. And we want to know the angle that it makes with the ground, so that angle down there. Again, if I were to draw this as just the triangle piece, here's my x, 10, and 7. Here are my little eyeballs. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going to get adjacent and hypotenuse here. And so I'm going to end up with cosine of x equals 7 over 10. Now, whenever you're taking the sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle, you got to use inverse of cosine. So you're going to use inverse of cosine of 7 over 10 to get your answer, which is going to give you about 45.5 degrees. Okay, so that's the angle it would create with the ground. Okay, 24. We're going to use law of sines on this one because it says so. And the law of sines is essentially the sine of the big angle over the side equals the sine of b over little b, the sine of c over little c. Okay. First thing I got to do is I got to find my third angle. They all add to 180, so this should be 44 degrees. And then we're going to go ahead and we want to find x. We're going to use x and its opposite. So we're going to take the sine always of the angle on top over its opposite equals. Now we got to use something that we know both pieces of information about, and that would be these two. So we're going to take the sine of 37 over 17. Go ahead and cross multiply. We're going to get x times sine of 37 equals 17 times sine 44. Okay, and then we're going to divide by sine of 37 on both sides. So that's gone. So you end up with x equals 17 times sine 44 over sine 37. And if you do this correctly, you're going to get about 19.6. And this seems to make sense. 37 degrees here is opposite 17. 44 is bigger, and it's opposite 19, so that makes some decent sense there. Okay. All right, next 25. Law of cosines. So our law of cosines is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine of a. Since these two are the ones that I'm looking for, I'm going to use the small a as the side length, that's x squared, times the cosine of 113. This is going to equal 29 squared plus 21 squared. Doesn't matter which order I put these in. 29 and 21. So there it is. Now we just kind of calculate. I like to calculate this part first and then that part secondary, and then combine them at the end. So if I do that, this is 1282 minus a negative 475.9. Okay, so two negatives right there make a positive, and I end up with 1757.9 equals x squared. Take the square root of it, and we are going to end up with about 41.9. Okay. Alright. We're going to continue on. Number 26, find the measure of one exterior angle of a 42-agon. So the way we could do this is we know that there's 360 degrees in all the exterior angles. So we're just going to divide it by 42. And if we do that, we're going to get 8.5 degrees. It sounds very small, but if you were to look at a 42-agon, it's going to be a really small angle because it's approaching what looks like a circle. It's going to have 0 degree as a exterior angle. Okay. 27. Find the measure of one interior angle. Well, I can find the sum of the interior angles by 180 n minus 2, and then I can divide that by 32. So if I do this, I get 180. N is going to be the 32, so that's the n. So that's going to be 30. So 180 times 30 gives me 5,400. And then divide by the 32 sides, and that's going to give me 168.75 degrees. Okay. Number 28, find the sum of the interiors. It's pretty easy. We just go ahead and use the formula, 180 n minus 2. That's going to be 28 minus 2. Put in my calculator, and we should wind up with 4,680 degrees. And even easier, find the sum of the exterior angles. It doesn't matter how many sides, it's always 360. And it's just a dead giveaway every time. Alright? Okay. If the sum of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 2,340, how many sides does the polygon have? Okay. Well, we could do this in a couple different ways. The best way we could probably do this is we want to find out essentially using the equation. So we get 180 n minus 2, and since we already know this is the equation for the sum, we just set it equal to 2,340. Okay, and to calculate that out, we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to divide by 180 to start. That seems to be a little bit faster instead of distributing it, so I'm going to divide by 180. So when I divide by 180, I'm going to get n minus 2 equals 13, which means n is going to equal 15. Alright, if the measure of one interior angle of a regular polygon is 165, how many sides does the polygon have? Well, another rule that we have to remember is that the interior angle, 165, plus the exterior angle, that should add to 180. Okay, and if that's true, then the exterior angle should equal 15. And if that's true, then we know that I'm going to take 360 and divide 15 into it, because I know the sum of the exteriors is 360, and if I have 15 as one of them, I can find it out, and I'm going to get 24 sides. And last one on this video we're going to get to is if the measure of one exterior angle is 12, how many sides does it have? We just simply do 360 divided by 12, and that's going to give me 30 sides. Okay guys, we'll be back with part 3.